Doing today? That's good. I want to tell you guys the story of Anansi and the turtle. Does anybody know the story of Anansi and the turtle? Alright, that's good. Alright, new story. Alright. It was a bright, beautiful, sunny morning, and Anansi was out in the garden picking some yams. Today, the yams looked extra big and delicious. So Anansi gathered as many yams as he could in his basket, and he thought to himself, I'm going to have myself a nice feast tonight, and I'm going to have it all to myself. He got all of his food in his basket, and he began to walk on home. Once he got home, he put the yams over the fire, he let them cook, and once they were done, he set up his dinner table where he had nuts, berries, fruits, all the foods you can think of. Anansi sat at the dinner table with his fork in his hand, and he was just about to dig into his food when he heard a knock at the door. Oh my God, thought Anansi, who could that be disturbing me at dinner time? Anansi stomped on over to the door. He swung it open furiously, and there who stood before him, it was none other than Turtle, who looked tired and exhausted. Turtle said wearily, Anansi, I'm so tired. I've been walking all day. Won't you let me come in for just 1 minute so I can rest up? Now, Anansi knew he could not turn Turtle away, so he invited him into his house. It was also tradition that when you had company over around dinner time, you simply had to invite them to dinner, as much as Anansi liked this or not. So Anansi sat at his table, he invited Turtle on over, and Turtle was just about to dig into his food when Anansi came up with a real good idea. He said, Turtle, you've been walking all day, correct? Why, yes, Anansi. Why do you ask? Well, your hands have to be dirty from crawling all over the ground all day. Why don't you go run over to the lake and wash up a little bit, and then you can come back and have some food. That sounds like a great idea, Anansi. So Turtle slowly walked over to the lake where he slowly washed his hands, and he slowly walked over back to Anansi's house. He opened the door and looked at the dinner table, and there was absolutely nothing left for Turtle. Anansi had eaten all of the food. Turtle, I didn't know you were coming back. You were gone for such a long time. I didn't realize you were coming back. Now, that was all a part of Anansi's plan to trick Turtle. Now, instead of responding with anger, Turtle came up with his own plan. He said, Anansi, I appreciate the gesture. Why don't you let me invite you to my house for dinner tomorrow? That sounds like a great idea, thought Anansi. I get free dinner. I didn't even have to do anything. So Turtle went on home, and Anansi stayed home. Anansi went to sleep, and the next day came about, and Anansi could not get the thought of free food out of his head. He was so excited about that dinner he would have later tonight. He could taste it in his mouth. He put out his nice dinner jacket. He put out his nice shoes. And he literally, like the whole day, he could not get the thought of that dinner out of his head. He was so excited. So dinner time finally rolled around. Anansi put on all of his nice clothes, and he began to walk over to Turtle's river. Once Anansi arrived to Turtle's home, he saw Turtle waiting right there on a rock, right for Anansi. Turtle said, Anansi, I'm glad you could make it here safely. Why don't you come on down to my house? I have dinner prepared and everything. So you have to remember, Turtle's house was underwater. Turtle dived into the water where he swam down real deep to his dinner table. I'll meet you down there, Turtle, Anansi said. Anansi got ready. He jumped into the water, and he tried to swim deep, but he couldn't. He'd swim 2 feet down, and then he'd go back up 2 feet. He'd try to swim 5 feet down, and then he'd swim back up 5 feet. You see, Anansi is a spider, and spiders can't swim like fish or turtles. So Anansi went to the shore, angry. He realized he had been tricked, and he thought about what he could do. Thought Anansi. He looked at his nice dinner coat. He got some rocks from the shore. He stuffed all the rocks in his pocket. He jumped back into the water, and as he thought, the plan worked. The rocks did all the heavy lifting for him. Anansi sunk very deep into the water to where Turtle was at the dinner table. Turtle had already begun to eat, so Anansi sat at one side of the table, and Anansi was getting ready to eat, and Turtle said, "Anansi, you know the rules at my house. You can't simply just eat at the dinner table with your jacket on. You got to take that off." Oh my God, thought Anansi. He took off his dinner coat and he put it around the chair, and he slowly began to float back to the top of the river. He got flung out of the water and he landed right there on his butt on the shore. Anansi looked down and he saw a turtle smiling at that dinner table, eating all that delicious food, and that made Anansi so angry, but there was nothing that he could do. Anansi walked back home and he thought to himself, "My mama was right. What goes around comes around."